All right, you can read a script and get a deal, but until you understand the theory of the sales process, it's really hard to buy into it and understand how important each step of the process is. You're gonna see in this video, as I'm training my team on the new sales script, that I really go into the theory behind why the script is written the way it is. It isn't just made up. I didn't use ChatGPT. I used years of experience to understand certain talk tracks, certain words, and parts of the process that, get us to the finish line and to the offer. And you'll hear intro is what I go over first. I want to have my team really understand the theory behind each part of this process so they're bought into it and they don't skip over stuff and they don't think some stuff is important, others isn't. Like, this is a very concise script that I've rewritten, so we cut out all the fluff, anything that didn't make any sense. And now we're just, every little thing we say in this script means something, and we say it absolutely for a reason. In the intro part of the process, our real goal and our objective is to get them to like us and trust us so we can continue the conversation. I think the hardest part of phone sales for most people is getting through the first 5 minutes of the conversation, because they're getting bombarded with sales calls, whether it's your industry that you're in, or it's cold callers from overseas, or it's other industries. You're not the first person they've talked to on a sales call. I can guarantee that. Let's get them to like us and trust us, and let's overcome the objections as they come by relating to them and just becoming their friend in the intro. I think if you can get through the first 5 minutes of a conversation with a seller in this case, you should be able to get to an offer. So we were talking about the intro. We changed up the beginning of it where we're not saying the company name right away. We're just trying to be an old friend, right? Hey, Wade, it's Tony. How you doing? Instead of the company and all that. Company info later. Calling about your property at 123 Main Street. You referred to us by a referral company. Looks like they paid your property with us because they thought we'd be a good fit for you. And they mentioned here in the notes you're wanting to sell your property. And then just pause, let them talk. This is like the most important question, I'll say, in the intro, to get some rapport going, get some, maybe even a future objections out of the way. Like, a lot of times, when we say, they mentioned here in the notes you want to sell their property, is when a lot of fresh, their first objections start. Yeah. And instead of getting into some type of argument or pissing contest during this, if somebody's saying, yeah, I'll sell it for $1 million, awesome. That's my job, to get you as close to $1 million as humanly possible. Yeah. We just want to acknowledge it and keep rolling, right? If they say, I'm gonna sell it to my daughter, she's living in there right now, awesome. How long has she been thinking about buying it? Why hasn't she bought it yet? She's waiting to see about financing. Cool. Well, wait, the point of this call today is to see if your property even qualifies in getting an offer. And I know you want to sell it to your daughter. I think that's great, but you might as well get a hassle-free, no obligation offer on the property so you know exactly what it's worth, right? And this is an offer through the whole fucking script. We're not, instead of saying you're selling your property, we're buying your property. I just like saying you're getting an offer, right? It's just so less intimidating than talking about buying their house, them selling their house. That's way more intimidating. And when you tell somebody about selling their property, it's oh fuck, it seems like a lot of work, or it's a big decision. Hey, this is just an offer on the home. You're just signing an offer, right? An offer to purchase. You're not selling your property right now. This is just an offer. So let's make sure we're saying offer through the process. Way less intimidating. Yeah. So the intro, 3 to 5 minutes. I'd like to get as close to that 5 minutes as humanly possible. And the only way we really get there is with this question. Because if they're real dry and they're just not giving us any feedback, we are going to get to them writing down our information rather quickly. And it does feel a little premature when we haven't at least had a few back and forths, you know.
A little bit of a
little bit of a normal conversation. But again, we don't want to get stuck in, you know, in an argument or stuck on an objection right away. We're just trying to blow past it. We're trying to get into the meat of this script so we can give an offer on it. The trouble with a lot of these sellers is, you know, I think it happens for a lot of people when they first get started anyway. And you can, I'm sure, relate to this in sales, where it's like, when you have somebody you get on the phone that's just not, you know, having a bright and sunny day, and it's hard to get through an intro. A lot of people that are, you know, closers, beginners for sure, are just, they don't know how to get the conversation going. Like, a lot of that just comes down to just being friendly and fucking blowing past their objections, acknowledging them, and just keep moving the conversation along. We just need to, if we can get through an intro and get into a fact find, I feel like every one of those conversations should get an offer, right? Because like the intro part, the first 5 minutes, I feel like is the hardest part to break through. So fix and flip, buy and hold. By the end of this call, I can promise you one of two things. I'm going to give you approval with an offer, denial with a reason why. Some of the benefits our clients love is that we buy homes as is. We cover all closing costs. There's no commissions. So as the house is today, is how we buy it. No repairs or cleaning needed. And then we get them to jot down our info. If they don't have a pen and paper and we're only sending a text, still have them read it back to us. Right? Hey, I just sent you a text message. Let me know if that came through. Yeah, it did. Awesome. Did it come through all right? What's the last 4 digits of the number on there? I want to make sure I sent it correctly. Just like so we know they're engaged.
Yeah.
Give them all our info, send them a text, and then we're into the fact find. Like I was telling these guys, this is the hardest part of the script to actually script out, because it's going to be a more natural conversation. The fact find is all about their motivation. All right, so now we're in the fact find part of the sales process, or discovery as some people say it. To me, this is the most important part of the sales process and the conversation, because this is where we squeeze out all the motivation and we build the most rapport. There's not a lengthy script for this. I just put some key questions we want to put in there. Some are geared more towards the motivation, and some are geared more towards building rapport. So, you know, it's got to be a really natural conversation in the fact finder, the discovery. I don't really script this part of the process out, because I want my sales team to have very natural conversations and give third-party stories and, you know, really relate to this seller, so we can build that trust. And when we get to our offer, you know, even if it's an offer that they don't necessarily like, they're not going to be mad at us or hang up on us, because we've done all the work in this fact find. It also pulls the motivation out to where now we can take that motivation and negotiate on that at the end, instead of just having a pissing contest and strictly negotiating off of numbers, because that just, you know, gets you a race to the bottom where, you know, the numbers go up and up and we're not able to even buy the house. So if they reject our first offer, everything we go through in this fact find and the motivation, we're taking notes on it. And we're changing our tonality, and we're saying, hey, I get that you don't like that number, but listen, you've been thinking about this for a long time. The property needs a lot of work. You don't have the resources to fix it. You have a bad tenant in there. The property's too big for you to take care of. You're alone now. You're older now. Like, whatever it is, we need all this motivation to paint a picture. So in the fact find part of the process, we're asking certain questions and we're just being quiet and listening. We want to actively listen in this part of the process so we can come back to all this information to get a deal signed. This is all about motivation and some rapport building, but like, we're trying to dig into why are they selling this house, right? Because that's going to be the negotiation at the end. It's not always about, it's almost never about the number. It's about their motivation. That's why they're on the phone with us. If price was the most important thing for these sellers, they'd fix the house up and fucking hire a realtor. Their motivation is the reason they're selling. So we got to remember that. So that's why this part is so important, 20 to 30 minutes. Collect all the details in the CRM. Do not interrogate. Have a natural conversation. That first question, catch me up to speed, Alex. What's got you wanting to sell? This is like where I think a third party story is most important, because whatever they say on their motivation on that question, we can relate it to another client, right? I'm sick of being a landlord. My tenants fucked up the place. They're not paying market rent, whatever it is, right? My husband passed away 5 years ago. It's a big house. It's hard for me to take care of. We inherited the property. No matter what it is, we got to come up with a third party story with a third party name and just say the same thing on every call. Like, make up a character, right? Like, it's always, hey, that's funny. You say that, Mr. Seller. I had a client of ours, Steve, a couple weeks ago, almost the same exact situation you're in. His wife passed away. He had this big ass house. His kids lived an hour away. He wanted to sell, downsize, and move closer to his kids, just like you. We were able to get him an offer on his home. We're going to close in a few weeks, helping him move his stuff. It's working out seamless. So whatever they say here for the motivation, wanting to sell, we can hit them with a third party story. Hey, that's great. I love talking to people like you, Wade, that aren't in a hurry and aren't desperate. You're much easier to work with.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing. You got rentals. You had them for years. Let's see if we can get you a free offer on this house if it's approved. And if it works for you, it works for us. Great. We'll move forward. If not, hey, you got 30 rentals. Keep them. Give them to your kids. Like what is their motivation?
They have none.
Well, they definitely have motivation if they're on the phone with you. That's what they're telling you, right?
Yeah.
There's a reason he wants to sell the fucking house. If there was zero motivation, do you think he would have told a cold caller that he wants to hear an offer? And do you think he would have answered your call and 60 other calls? And do you think you'd get to 6 minutes into a conversation after he knows we're going to give him an offer on a house? Or do you think he'd say, hey, I have zero motivation on selling this thing, and hang up on you?
I don't know.
There's variations of motivation. Not everybody's going to say, hey, I'm fucked financially and I need to fire sale this for half off. That'd be great. We'd all be living on a yacht in Barbados, but
Yeah.
you know, there's going to be people that have a lot more motivation than others, and there's going to be people that don't show their cards.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know this guy's situation. He's saying, oh, I got a bunch of rentals I don't need to sell, but if I get the right price, you know, maybe this guy's got a horrible gambling problem. We don't fucking know about it.
That's true.
Okay, so catch me up to speed. What's got you wanting to sell? Third party story after that. And then I just put key info on here. This is a short part of the script, but it's the most important. That's why I put 20 to 30 minutes. And that's why I didn't script it all out, because it's so hard to do in this type of conversation. You can't script everything out. We just got to have a natural conversation about what their motivation is. And I listed, like, first of all, we need to know, is this a rental or a primary home? If it's tenants, ask what they like and don't like about being a landlord. Do they have a plan with the tenants? We're getting the motivation and objections out of the way, asking those questions, right? What's the plan with the tenants if you do sell? If it's their primary home, what's the plan after? Do you guys have a plan to move? Have you been looking? What's the game plan? What's your plan with the cash at closing? How long have you owned this property? Are you from Raleigh, North Carolina originally? This will open up. That's my favorite question to ask a buyer or a seller, to just have them open up and start talking about their life. Like, this is how I build rapport, is asking, are they from there originally? No, I grew up in so-and-so. Awesome. Like, and then, what'd you do for a living? What'd your parents do? How'd you end up here? Oh shit, I bet Raleigh was a lot different in 1975 than it is today. Like, people love talking about their lives and their journey, and I think that's a good question to start building that rapport. But we're trying to knock out all these objections too. Are you married? Do you have any kids? Is there any other decision makers? If there is, are they around to jump on a phone with us? If no, when's the last time you talked to them about it? How'd that conversation go the last time you chat with them about selling? When was that? You sound pretty young. How young are you? But this is just an outline of what we need to talk about. And in order for us to get to 20 minutes in this fact find, they're going to have to give us a little bit, right? So we can dig into it. But we're really just trying to knock out all the objections that are going to come later and also get all their motivation out of them, right? So we just got to know, like, it's our job to fucking stay in this conversation and ask open-ended conversations, dig into the motivation, and if we think something's going to be an objection, let's ask the right questions, but not get into a huge argument here. We're just trying to ask the right questions to get it out of them. Give me a common thing that's been holding me up. The wife.
I talked to my wife.
Awesome. Is she around?
At this point, and I always ask, is she around? Can we get her on the phone if she's not around?
Yeah. So then we're gonna ask, all right, well, how'd the conversation go last time you chatted with them about selling?
Well, we didn't really get into price or anything, so that's what I'd have to talk to her about today.
Understood. Well, I'm going to ask you some questions about the property and see if it even qualifies first before we get into it, or price. But by the end of this call, if it does qualify and we can get you an offer on the property, are you going to have to talk to her about that offer before anybody signs an agreement? Yeah. What time is she home?
Gets off at 3:30.
3:30? Okay, so we got a couple hours. Well, let's at least get through the condition of the home. I'll ask you a few questions, take about 5 minutes. We'll at least see if the property is approved for an offer, and we'll kind of go from there. If we have to get your wife on the phone later today for everybody to be in agreement, we'll do that. But sometimes in a situation like that, I still want you to get through the process and get them an offer.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be a surprise then at the end where he's like, well, shit, that sounds good, but I still got to talk to the wife. Yeah, you told me she'd be home at 3:30. Is there, I told you about the virtual withdrawal number. This number your funds aren't held forever, right? Are you sure we can't just three-way her in on a call right now and go over what we've been chatting about? Like, hit that again? No, she's at work. She's just not free till 3:30. Okay. Well, let me do this. What's your email? Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to send you an invitation to hop back on the phone at 3:30 when your wife gets home. And let's chat about this.
If I get that offer out and he doesn't like it, that's the perfect excuse to be like,
well, that's just going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we don't want to not give an offer. Your wife, you need to go over with your wife anyway. Like, what's a magic number that you and your wife discuss that would be right to sell this home? Like, ask it again. Because he probably said no just so he could hear your offer. So, like, you just got to go back and repeat those questions and get it out of him. Maybe at the end then, once we give our offer, he's going to be like, hey, we're not going to take less than 200. All right, Alex, well, let me ask you this. If I can get them up to 200, would you guys be willing to move forward today? Yeah.
I'm just going to commit that out of them.
Yeah, and then just say, okay, awesome. Well, wife gets home in an hour, right? We're going to have to talk to her anyway. You got the initial offer from the underwriters. We buy houses a lot of different ways, and I've seen them jump up quite a bit, when I go back and get them up. So just do me this favor. When the wife gets home, let's hop on a call, and let's see how close to that 200 we can get you. I'll do my work while we're waiting for your wife to get home and see how close to that I can get.
Again, not to jump ahead.
It's all the notes you've been taking, right? About the motivation, their life, where they're from, how long they've been married, their kids, everything.
And you would go back, look, I talked to Jerry.
Hey, I've been talking to Jerry earlier today. We chatted for about an hour. Super nice guy. Thanks for hopping on the call. Said you guys been married 61 years. Congratulations. That's, double how long I've been alive. So tell me this, Louise, or what's her name? Amber? Okay. Tell me this, Amber. How do you have the patience to get through 61 years of marriage with Alex? Like, just something like that. Like, we're trying to,
Break the ice.
break the ice. But it's like, yeah, and let's talk about whatever the motivations are, whatever. It's like, yeah, he said you guys are looking to sell because you want to downsize, you're about ready to retire, you want to move closer to the kids, blah, 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 whatever that is. I'm sure you love hanging out with the grandkids, right? Like, stuff like that. And then we can touch on the house too, Alex told me that the house is in really good shape, just a little bit dated. Haven't upgraded it since, 1995, but it's a nice house. That sound about right? Is there anything you'd like to tell me about the property? Maybe Alex missed some good features about it. That'll help get the offer up. Like, ease into it. Like, we should be having a conversation before we just jump into an offer. All right, now we're in the pitch part of the process. And in this pitch part of the process, we're now talking about the product, which this case, it's real estate. So we're talking about the home. This is an important part of the process and very important questions because, again, we're going to use this ammo of every little thing about the house that isn't perfect, we can use that for negotiation at the end. And we really do need to know what the condition of this home is so we can give, the correct offer. Even if it's a property a seller hasn't been in a long time, like if it's just old, we know it's old. So, these are very important questions. And the more detailed you can ask these questions, the more like you're going to sound like the expert. So we have a very lengthy CRM with a lot of fields to fill out. So we'll ask questions about permitted and unpermitted areas. We ask questions about utilities. We ask questions about what's the color of the appliances in the kitchen. Like every little thing we ask about the layout of the home, square footage, foundation, age of windows, everything. So the more information you can get in this part of the process, it does a lot of things for us. It helps out the dispo team to where they have as much information of this property as possible. So when they're talking to buyers trying to assign this deal, they don't have to go back and forth with the seller or anything. All the information's in the CRM for them to gather that information and be the expert on the dispo side when they're talking to buyers. So it works all the way through this process on why we need to know all this information about the property. And as we're asking these questions about the age of everything or the condition of everything, the seller is really just talking down the value of this home if it truly is in distress, like age of the roof and age of the hot water heater and the age of the HVAC. If it has a septic, when's the last time you serviced it? Oh, it's been 15 years. Ooh, okay. I'm going to take a note on that. That's a long time to not service your septic tank. You're supposed to do it every couple of years. So, everything they're giving us is, we're not trying to beat up this property. We're just trying to steer the seller in the right direction of what the property is worth. Because the last thing we want is a seller to look at their property on Zillow, see a number of 300 grand, but we run our comps and we see, hey, the ARV is 300. If this thing was completely fixed up, it would sell for 300. If that's the case, we need to understand the condition. So when we come to an offer and it's lower than that 300, we can go back and say, hey, like I know you want 300 for it because that's what you saw on the Zestimate, but this is why it's not worth it because of the condition you told me and because that 300 number. Look at 456 Main Street. I'm going to send you the link to that one. That one sold for 300 and everything is brand new. It was freshly rehabbed. So, we're helping the seller get to a number that makes sense for both of us because, we don't want another, company getting them under contract at 300 because they don't know what they're doing. And now they're just wasting the seller's time. Like the offers we give to our sellers make sense and we have the comps to prove it. So, we're not trying to make $100,000 on every deal. We just need to make our assignment fee on it. So we need to paint this picture for the seller while we're looking at comps and we know the condition of their home. So the pitch, it might be 10, 20 minutes. It's really important. It's what's going to help dispo. It's what's going to help the seller understand what the value of their property truly is when it comes to the numbers now. But these conversations in the pitch can feel a little robotic. So we actually just have them do a virtual walkthrough with us instead of just interrogating the seller and asking, all right, square footage, year build, bed and bath count, age of the roof. Like we don't just go through and ask the questions. We say, hey, walk us around the outside of the house. What do you see? And we have a natural conversation. And then we ask the questions during that conversation. Okay, awesome. You said you had a deck, a nice fenced in backyard. What about the windows? Is it brick or is it siding on the house? What about the foundation, right? And then we walk inside the house instead of saying, okay, we're inside the house. What does the bathroom look like? What does the kitchen look like? We literally just say, all right, walk us around the house. We're standing in the front door. What do we see? You're in the living room. Awesome. What do the floors look like? What do the walls look like? Do you have popcorn ceilings? When's the last time you replaced the lighting fixtures? You know, stuff like that, layout of the home. So have a natural conversation through this process, and you're going to, you know, sound like an expert. It's not going to be a boring conversation for the seller. You're definitely going to get more deals. Just pull the property up on Zillow or Google Street View and start looking at it with them. We're going to talk about, before we talk about the inside of the house, talk to me about everything on the outside. What's the neighborhood like? Lots of renters. Is it more owner occupied? What's the speed limit out front? Is there anything wrong with the structure? Exterior home look like brick siding? How old's the roof or HVAC? What's the lot size? Is there anything in the backyard? Is there a price that you have in mind for the property? Like, that's the first time we ask that, right? Either they're going to say yes or no. We're not going to argue. We're just going to move on, no matter what they tell us. If they say $1 million, awesome. What got you to that number? No matter what number they say, what got you to that number? A buddy of mine said it's worth $1 million. We're not going to say, oh, your buddy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about because I'm looking at comps right here and it looks like it's worth 300. We're going to say, okay, buddy said it's worth $1 million. Is he in real estate? Is he a realtor? Does he know what properties are worth? Yes or no? Yeah, he does some investing. Awesome, cool. All right, I'm going to jot that down. Let's see how close to that $1 million we can get. We're just moving on. We're not gonna get stuck right here in a fucking pissing contest. Yeah. Okay? Because it's not your job to know the numbers anyway. It's the underwriter's job. So just remember that. If they give you a number, don't argue it. Ask how they came up with that number. Make a note and move on. What I'd like you to do now, Alex, is walk me through the inside. And then again, walk in the front door. What do we see? This home was built in 1990. Does it still look like 1990 inside? Flooring, the layout is an open concept. Is the kitchen separated? Like, let's get an idea what this house looks like. Have you added anything to the home that need to be permitted that wasn't permitted? Kitchen original, all the normal questions, right? Ask about the foundation. If you had $20,000 to $30,000 to spend on updating the property, what would you spend it on? Is there anything I haven't asked you that you would want to know, good or bad? I didn't put every single question in the CRM on the outside and the inside of the house. I just put some key notes. But remember, we have the CRM up and we're looking at all the questions in there, and we just got to make sure we're filling everything out on every single lead. So even though not every question is in the script, just have a natural conversation walking around the outside. We can ask, block or wood frame. We're only block frames we're getting are in like Florida, and we're not even calling Florida data. Pretty much everything's gonna be a wood frame, but we can ask about the year of the house, when they bought it, lot size, square footage. This is all outside stuff. We can ask about the foundation, the HVAC, the roof, a garage, yes or no. We can ask those types of questions. Then the other half of the questions for the inside, we can stick to this and make sure we're getting all those questions knocked out too. And then, is there anything I haven't asked you would want to know, good or bad? Our average close is 45 days or less. The property's approved for an offer. Does that timeline work for you? Okay, is there anything else I haven't asked you think is important? All right. Mrs. Seller, everything you told me I've been putting straight into our system. This goes back to our underwriters. They're running a CMA report. That stands for current market analysis. They go in depth on the value of the home and its current condition. Thank you again for all the info you're giving me. This helps us get the most accurate offer possible. I'm going to put you on a quick hold to see if they have that report finished and if the property is approved for an offer or if they denied it. If they have denied it for an offer, I'll give you a reason why, but let's keep our fingers crossed. I'll be right back. Don't hang up, just a brief hold, hang tight. Then we come back for the offer. I put run comps in there. That's when you're going to slack it to me, is on that first hold. Then I'll run comps. Put them on a 3-minute hold and then hop back. Thanks for your patience. I don't have good or bad news yet. They had a couple quick questions I didn't have the answers to, so I'll take the blame for not asking. When was the last time you replaced the hot water heater? Are the windows original? Any foundation issues? When's the last time the electrical panel was replaced? Any plumbing issues? Any liens or open mortgages on the property? And then is there anything else you need to figure out before you sell? No. Would there be anyone who might be a tiny bit upset that you're selling the property? Any other decision makers? If the underwriter was to come back with an approval and an offer that made sense for you, are you ready to sign a purchase agreement and get the process started today? Do you have access to your email? What's a good email address for you? Let me explain our process while we're waiting for the underwriters to finish, and then we'll go through our process. If home is approved and offer is accepted, we sign a simple 2-page agreement. It's written in third-grade English for guys like me to understand. After that, within 24 hours, you'll get a welcome call with the transaction coordinator, Kirsten. She'll schedule photos to be taken of the house. And then the title company will make sure there's a clear title for closing. We'll schedule a quick walkthrough, and then we head to the closing table so you can get paid. It's really that simple. All right, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, my head underwriter, Tony's trying to get my attention. They must be finished with their report. Give me 2 seconds to review it. I'll be right back.
Are you ready to sign the purchase agreement to get started?
Well, that's why we asked, that's why we asked this before. If the underwriter was to come back with an approval and an offer that made sense for you, are you ready to sign a purchase agreement and get the process started? Yeah. And we could ask that more casually. Okay, awesome. Can I jot down your email just in case it's approved? Yeah. And dude, scribble in these scripts, add stuff, take stuff out. We just want the flow of this, right? All right, so now we're at the offer. Okay, this is the moment we've all been waiting for, the offer. We're going to give the seller an offer. So, this is the time where we start putting the seller on hold. We utilize a couple of holds, and that's definitely a sales tactic, but it also helps us a ton to put the seller on hold for a total of 6 to 10 minutes. And if you're a one-man show doing this and you want to just pay attention to the conversation and not be clicking around and looking at comps while you get to this point, now you have 3 minutes to start looking at comps while they're on their first hold, and then another 3 minutes to finish looking at comps and running your numbers on the second hold. And I mean, sometimes I've seen some of my guys put sellers on hold for 10 minutes and they've stayed on the phone. Like, how motivated is that seller? So, don't be nervous about putting somebody on hold. That shows that they're actually interested and they really want to sell this house. Like, if they're going to sit on hold, by the time we get to the offer, we should be 30 minutes into a conversation at least. So when we're putting them on hold, they've already spent 30 minutes with us. We've done our job. We've grabbed the motivation. We've grabbed the information about the property. We've built the rapport. We can put them on hold, run our numbers, get back, ask a few more questions, put them on hold again, run our numbers again, and come up with an offer to give them. Remember too, whatever they say through the conversation, like, we're always giving them our process, right? And for example, if we say we're going to give you, or our standard close is 45 days or less, and they say, ooh, I'm going to need 90 days. Don't just give away the farm every time they want something, right? Leave a little doubt in their mind and use that for negotiation, or use it to make them feel like they've won. So if we know we can do 90 days and that's what the seller's asking for, don't just give it away when they ask for it. Say, ooh, okay, well, I know we like to close in 45 days or less, but I'm going to put a note here for the underwriters that you are looking for a 90-day close, and let me see if I can get that approved, because that helps with negotiation too. Like, if we're giving them a number, say we offer 150,000 and they were asking for 200,000, it's like, now we have some negotiation power there where it's like, hey, maybe I can come up $10,000-$20,000. I'm going to do my best to come all the way up to your number. I know they're not going to want to do the 90 days, right? I think I'm going to be able to get them up to maybe 170. If I have a fighting chance, and get you that 90, does that work for you? Let me go back and work for you. So use it as, additional negotiations and additional value or benefit to the seller, where we can, not just give it away right away, leave a little bit of doubt, change your tonality, make a note of it, and let's see if we can get it approved for that. Or if our numbers are dang near right on and we only got to come up a little bit, but we're at a 45-day close and they're like, ooh, we're still off 10 grand. I really want, the 160. And, like I told you before, I really need that 90 days. Now we can say, hey, I don't know if I can get to the to 160, we're at 150. Like if I can at least go back there and get you the 90 days, does that work for you? And we can be good at the 150. So it's a negotiation, so don't give it away during the conversation. We don't want to give them everything. We got to leave a little bit of doubt, make sure the property qualifies first of all, make sure their closing date they need qualifies, all that stuff. Use it as fuel at the end of the call so we can negotiate with it. Okay, Mr. Seller, Tony's getting my attention, and then come back. Congratulations, your property was approved to be purchased. This is the first one they have approved for me in the past 5 days. So I'm excited as well. Let me explain what they have approved. The offer was approved to buy the property as is. They approved 45-day close, or if the seller asks for a 60-day or a 90-day, like, let's make that like a benefit, right? So like it happened the other day where, we were on the phone and we're like, we're typically 45-day closes, and the seller's like, I need 90 days. Yeah, no problem. We'll do 90 days. Like no. It's like, hey, I'm going to jot that down. 90 days is a long closing period, but let me see if the property's approved, if they'll approve that 90 days. I'm going to push for that. Or we usually like to buy in the 45 days. Let me see if a 90 day will be approved, right? Because then when we come back and hey, I got you approved for the 90-day close. That's double what our normal time frame is. No commissions are taken out. All the closing costs covered by us. This is a net number to you at close. But when we first come back on that second hold, like you gotta be excited that it was approved, right? Alex, congratulations, the property was approved. This is the first property that they've approved in the last 5 days. So I'm super excited.
That's all. Yeah, that's awesome.
And then, so this is a net number to you at closing. They just put your funds in a virtual withdrawal account. I'm one of 5 acquisitions managers here at Prime Partner Home Buyers. Every time an offer is made to purchase a home, we move the funds into a separate account, place them on hold for you so no one can access your money for another offer. Grab that pen and paper for me and write this reference number down for your cash, okay? Repeat that number back to me. Thank you. Make sure you save that number. It's super important. That's your money sitting in that account. The offer actually came in higher than I anticipated, considering it's a 1960 build and it's dated. Just touch on one little thing. Don't dig it. Don't list a million things, right? Whatever the most major thing is with this property, just mention that. The offer came in higher than I anticipated. The offer actually came in higher than I anticipated, considering it's a more rural property.
Based on the speed bump in the driveway?
Yeah, based on the speed bump in the driveway, the mismatched siding, the roof leaking, right? The HVAC not working, the windows being, the dent in the garage. Like one major thing, your food, yeah, just.
Oh, well, considering the roof is a mess and the garage is.
Well, this is after the second hold, so yeah, take note of that while they're on hold, where you can say, what should I say in this? Like, it's because the property's from 1960 or whatever. Considering the age of the home, and you can actually, if it's a property that's in rough shape, you can just say, considering the condition of the home. Like that's fine too. Like that's something to always fall back on. The approved offer for your property in its current condition is whatever, $50,000. And then pause for a second. 2 pages later is offer accepted. We take a pause and then we just assume the close. The next steps, the underwriters are going to prepare an agreement for you. It will be sent via email through DocuSign. It's easy to understand, outlines the steps we must take to close on time and for the full price we discussed today. Let me verify that I have your name correctly, address correct, and email. Just a breath. 1 second. And never, ever, ever, ever ask, what do you think about the offer? You do that and I fucking want to blow my brains out every time.
Oh, I do it.
Nothing irritates me more.
I do it too.
Don't fucking do that. Okay, so just go straight through the close. Okay? What's your email or what's your mailing address? The title company's going to need that later. All right, pull up your email for me real quick. The underwriter just sent you and I the offer. I'm going to go over it with you. Okay? And then we're not going to send it right there. We're just going to make sure they pull up their email. No, I don't see it. Awesome. Let me ask if they've sent it yet. Right? And then I'm going to send it. And then they're going to say, oh yeah, it just popped up. Assume the close. So now we're at the close. Let's see if we can get this thing signed. So if we've done everything right up until this point, like my boy Eric says, the close should be the easiest part. Okay, and that is so true. If we've really done our job, if we have had the objective of becoming their friend in the intro and getting through that first 5 minutes, if we have built all the rapport and pulled all the motivation and actively listened in the fact finder, the discovery, if we've truly been the expert and gotten the information during the pitch about the property and the seller has given us the information that like brings down the value of the home because it needs work, if we have, you know, negotiated on the offer and went back and forth and used the holds and used motivation and used you know, rapport and the information during the pitch, like if that was all done up until this point, you should be able to close out the deal, or at least close a lot more deals moving forward. So every piece of this sales process is so important to get to this point, the close, because if you can't close a deal, then you're not going to make any money. The close is what happens. Are you a closer or not? Coffee's for closers. So if halfway through that they say no, whoa, it's too low, or they say no right away, just go to offer rejected. Hey, I completely understand. This is just what they authorized me to spend. Before I go back and ask them for more money, though, we've been talking for 75 minutes. You told me you want to sell the home. You told me you want to move closer to your kids. You told me whatever, right? You're sick of being a landlord. You told me your tenants are destroying this place. You told me it needs a ton of repairs and you're 82 years old and you don't want to mess with it, right? I'm on your side. The property is approved. The hard part's over with. Now it's a matter of making the numbers make sense for both of us. Help me go to bat for you. Is there any more ammo you can give me to get the value up and a higher offer for your property? Like, give me some ammo. Let's work together. Like, now you're working together, right? And then where do you need to be price-wise to walk away happy? You didn't like the 233. How far off are we? I need 260. All right. Well, before I go back and ask for more money, is that the best you think you can do so I can let the underwriter know? I'm going to try and get the 260. I'm going to tell you right now, our offer was 233. You're at 260. These underwriters are good at what they do. This is a cash net offer to you. There's no commissions and no closing costs taken out. You don't have to move a finger. You don't have to sweep the place. You don't have to move anything. You don't have to do anything. This is a cash as is offer. So if we're at 233 and you're at 260, help me out. It's going to be a lot easier to get them to jump 5-10 grand than 30 grand. If the property was worth 260, they would have offered closer to 260. Help me out here. This is a net number to you. We can close on your timeline. We can do this. We can do that. Here's all the benefits, right? No, I'm dead set on 260, maybe 255. Okay, I get it. That's your number. If they can come up to that number, are you ready to move forward today? Let me go to bat for you. Right? Then we're putting them on another hold. We're seeing if we can get them up. And never live negotiate. We're going back and forth. And then eventually they're going to accept it. And then we're going to move forward. After they sign, congratulations. Next, I'm going to transfer you over to Kirsten, our transaction coordinator. If Kirsten's here while we're on the phone, we can live transfer the call. If not, it's 24 hours. She'll call you. She's going to walk you through the next steps and be your point of contact moving forward. There will be a couple times we need to get access to the property before close. Always feel free to call and ask for me, but I usually will just direct you to our transaction coordinator, Kirsten. It was a pleasure getting to know you. Congratulations on bringing this chapter to a close. That's it. Feeling good? As we go through this and as I hear you guys on the phones, I'm sure we'll change some things, add some things, whatever. But I do like the flow of this better, taking some fluff out. Like, I just took it, the old script line by line, took all the fluff out and just kind of made it more concise and organized. with just a few different questions and talk tracks. And, you know, like I said, it's our job in the fact find to just have a real conversation with them. Intro, we're trying to be their friend. The fact find, we're knocking out all the objections they might have and asking open-ended questions about those objections. So they're basically answering them themselves of why this isn't going to be an objection or how we're going to overcome it later. And we're just getting as much motivation out of them as possible in that fact find. Talk about their life, talk about where they're at, their marriage, their kids, work, retirement, fixed income, condition of the house, condition of the tenant, all the shit. Okay. And then the pitch, obviously we're getting the info on the house and then the offer and the close should be the easiest part if we do our job right. Cool.
Yep.
Remember, every part of this process is important, but you need to understand the theory behind it, behind a script, behind a sales process. So you are truly bought into it and you understand the way we say things, the tonality, the reason we say things, the reason I change just minor words throughout this thing on this new script, because I know it works. Like, it takes years to understand this, but once you understand it, you can, you know, you're no longer just going to read a script just like a robot knowing this is what you're supposed to say. It's going to help you with tonality or the way you ask questions or other questions you're going to ask or other conversations you're going to have during this process, because you understand why you're doing it. It is the most important part of sales, I believe. And that's how I like to coach my team. That's how I like to train my community and coach my community, is a lot of theory, whether it's a sales process, a dispo process, marketing, whether it's underwriting, running comps. Like, why do we do the things we do? It comes down to communication. And, you know, if you're somebody that learns really fast and you can read a script and understand why you're saying the things you're saying, or you create a script and you assume that your team is just automatically going to understand it, that's not the right way to communicate these things. You don't just come in as a boss with your chest, you know, pumped up and say, hey, I just made a new script, everybody read it, and then walk to my office. When I made a new script, I spent days explaining it and role playing with it. And that's what you guys see in this video, is like, this is how I train my team. I communicate with them so they understand why I changed it, why I switched some stuff up, and why each part of this process is so important. So whether you're a one-man band or you have a team, or in the future you want to have a team, remember, communication is king of sales, and it's also king of coaching and mentoring and being a good leader. How are you communicating the things that need to get done in your business? How are you communicating things in a sales process to a seller or a prospect? Communication is key. Not everybody learns the same way you do. So remember that. Let's get some deals and let's close them out. I will see you guys at the top.